What's going on? This is Jack2505, and today the devs of Space Marine 2 have confirmed a big patch, massive changes coming tomorrow, the 24th of October, Thursday. There are gameplay and balancing tweaks for the operations mode. It's been, for the last week, it's been very good, very bad, very controversial. They are rolling back a lot of changes and they're buffing certain weapons as well. Let's just get into it. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I'm shooting off the hip, guys, so let's just go. Right. There are going to be changes to minimal, average, and substantial difficulties. They're going to be reduced spawn rate of extremist enemies to match pre-patch 4.0 levels. So they're more or less reverting back to what it was before and how basically balanced and fair it was before for the lower difficulties. And in ruthless difficulty, significantly reduced spawn rate of extremist enemies. So again, not going to be seeing as many extreme enemies anymore. And the weapons only in operations mode, obviously not in PvP. They've been wanting to address the bolter family for a while. We're going to see a big buff now to the auto bolt rifle, damage increased by 20%, bolt rifle, damage increased by 10%, heavy bolt rifle, damage increased by 15%, Stolt bolt rifle increased by 10%, marksman bolt carbine increased by 10%, and the insignia bolt carbine increased by 10%. And the bolt sniper rifle, yes, this one needed a buff. Damage increased by 12.5%. I'll be looking forward to trying that out. The bolt carbine damage increased by 15%. The Oculus bolt carbine damaged by 15%, and the heavy bolter damage increased by 5%. So that's great for the heavy class. It's really good to see the bottle family getting that buff, and it's going to change the meta up a lot. And let's look into the difficulty now. So Ruthless, player armor is increased by 10%. So they're partially rolling back the change from the previous patch on Ruthless, following the feedback from the community in patch 4.1, and they're hoping to find the right compromise between how easily Ruthless difficulty felt after patch 3.0 and how it felt after last week's patch of 4.0. So it looks like they're going to be increasing the armor in Ruthless, so going back to what it was before. And the big one, guys, the big one. I must admit, I'm so surprised to see the devs roll this one back. On Lethal, tight formation system is removed. It's going, guys. I can't believe that. I am shocked. I'm sure some players will be jumping for joy, but I'm actually shocked. So before anything else, let us, I'm quoting the devs here. Before anything else, let us clarify our reasons for the introduction of this mechanic. As we worked on adding a new difficulty tier, we needed to make sure that this new challenge was meaningful and interesting. With tight formation, our objective was to add a new layer of challenge for our most skilled players by adding horizontal progression rather than vertical progression, i.e. dealing more damage to even stronger enemies. This game is about the power fantasy and enemies that take dozens of melees hits break it. Thus, the challenge needed to come from other sources. This system was also designed as a first step towards the introduction of gameplay modifiers down the line, both negative and positive, something World War Z players will be familiar with, but your feedback showed that the proximity requirements felt too restrictive. Classes like the Assault and Vanguard felt especially penalized as playing them effectively requires a certain freedom of movement. As a result, we're removing the system entirely and will continue to work on modifiers until they're ready. We will continue to monitor your feedback after the deployment of patch 4.1 to make sure lethal difficulty feels as challenging and rewarding as it should. Wow. Wow, they're removing it. How do I feel about it? Just off. If a look, if players are able to hold their own, being far away from the team and still do well as the Assault and Vanguard. I understand as the Assault and Vanguard, it's either you had to play restrictive, or usually, let's say for example, I was a Bulwark, I would move forward with the Assault and Vanguard classes to sort of complement them and protect them at the same time. But that is massive, guys. That's taken me completely by surprise. Tight formation is removed, and it looks like it's being removed, and I don't think it's coming back. And then they go into general fixes in regards to the AI. So the bots, so if you're playing solo, bots deal 30% more damage to bosses. This was also another complaint in which people were saying the bots hardly did anything to bosses and you're basically doing it by yourself. And what's it called again? the Zoanthrope shield swap cooldown with another paired Zoanthrope is increased by 10%. So it takes longer for them to swap the bubbles over. So it should make it a little bit easier. And then there's another general fixes in tech in regards to fixed bug with unlocking lethal difficulty rewards decals, and crash fixes and general stability improvements. That's good because I'm getting sick and tired of just hanging around the lobby. Not all of a sudden I'm disconnected. And they go on to say our team are constantly working on improvements to the game stability. This patch is no exception, and you should encounter fewer crashes. So that's good. And then that's the end of the patch notes. The Emperor protects the Space Marine 2 team. Wow, guys. I tell you what, this has got to be one of the quickest turnarounds I've ever seen. I think tight formation was good. I can understand both sides of the story. I don't mean to sound like I'm sitting on the fence here. I did respect tight formation. I thought it was a good idea, but at the same time, a Space Marine feeling weak when they're far away from the team and they can't defend themselves doesn't really balance it out. And I'm looking forward to seeing what the devs can do on lethal difficulty, because that's basically where I live now, and how they can up the difficulty in different ways that maintains the power fantasy but challenges the most skilled or the most dedicated Marines. But guys, I want to know what you think about this patch coming up on Thursday. As soon as the patch goes live, I'm going to be diving straight into it and giving my feedback. In particular with those bolt guns, I want to try them all and see what they're like on the lethal difficulty and how good they are. Now, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and follow me on all my socials. I'm just going Warhammer crazy over here. Now, thank you very much for making it to the end of the video. My name is Jack2505, and I'll see you in the next video.